what is the appropriate way in which we can resolve conflicts, whether it's political or social or personal. I mean, we're all human, we're vulnerable, and we have desires and impulses and urges, and throughout life, we are placed upon a horizon of conflicts and events in which we have to conceptualize about what is the appropriate way to respond to conflicts and events that at first seem frighten us and anger us and make us distant from our reasonable faculties. I think whether it's personal or political, one way you can think about conflict is to look at it from a binary way. When someone has conflict with you, I'm sure they have their own reasons too. And if you're angry at them, you have your own reasons too. And when you both have sufficient reasons for this sort of conflict, it tells you something. It gives you an idea of what this dynamic is. Clearly, you can find common ground and compromise in which you address your problems through communication, reason, and honesty. And it's really interesting. Every time there's a conflict arises, we have a choice between conversation and war. We could throw ad hominems and ad nauseums and just attack the individual on the basis of their identity, or we can, when they use language, we can try to grasp something at their language. Maybe what they're trying to say is not so much a representation of factual things, but how they're feeling. You know, there's this idea in philosophy of communication that says you should look at language not so much as descriptions of how things are, but more of a representation of internal feelings. When your girlfriend or your friend says, "You're never nice to me," maybe she's not so much representing the way she thinks the world is, but maybe she's representing her internal feelings anchored to language. So language so much is not just a description of how facts are, but internal states. And when someone's angry at you and they disrespect you, or they block you, or they feel really angry towards you, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe you should distance yourself from the first impulse, that is just to get angry at the individual and attack them. Maybe there's a reason for them, and when you understand the reason, you don't so much operate based on impulse and urges, you feel like attacking them, but you come upon this terrain of reason in which you recognize that you do your part, and if the person doesn't see the value in you, if they don't respect you, if they don't see your worth, you don't have to try to prove yourself, just do your part. And I think even in the political sphere, there's this conflict of partisanship in which we are faced with two appropriate ways of dealing with such problems. We can either operate based on emotions and feelings and urges, all these humanistic elements, or we can take a moment and step back, and when we arise at a conflict, try to think of a way in which we would approve of everyone else behaving in such a way. If I get into a conflict and if I attack the person really bad and disrespect them, would I want them to do that to me? So it's sort of universalizability principle. Do I do unto others as you have them do unto you? And I think this dichotomous relationship between reason and emotion is a real dichotomy. Like, a lot of our problems emerge out of us just relying on our day-to-day emotions. But it's interesting, when you become more disciplined, when you act according to a behavioral guideline, when you control your impulses and urges, when you discipline yourself, you become more free. But when you just do whatever you want to do, you do whatever the fuck you want to do, you will never have order in your life, because there's no behavioral guideline in which you can accommodate yourself to. And I think you never win with violence and hatred and war and and ad hominems and attacking person. You only win when you maintain your dignity. And it's very easy to say that, but when you're faced in those instances in which your emotions rise up, you become angry, it's very important to take a moment, step back, and you don't want to do something that you will regret later. So I think when you discipline yourself, when you control your emotions,